So I want to tell you about some of the business lessons I learned from manga. Two in particular, one of which I think has, both of which have implications for media in general, one of which I've tried to act on my own. And so I want to give you sort of one of the big takeaway that I had about manga when I got to Japan was that manga occupies a very different role in Japanese society from the role that comics have here in the US. Manga is absolutely ubiquitous. It is everywhere. It is unavoidable. It begins with these weekly comic magazines. Look at these things, the size of phone books that are in these towering piles at convenience stores, towering piles everywhere. No matter where you go, I even tried this experiment in Tokyo where how far could I walk in Tokyo without encountering manga of some kind? And it basically, you can't really go more than a block without seeing it in some fashion. Like just ubiquity, like this guy here, standing in the corner about to get hit by a bus. If you look at the numbers, you find that manga represents 22% of printed material in Japan. Now think about that for a second. 22% of printed material is in comic form. That's a mass medium. It's much more like television. Riding to the rescue are people like this. Now take a look at that. This is a photograph from a comic market, a komike, where I spent several days when I was on my Japan Society fellowship. Now look at that sea of humanity. This should be a good sign for this is a good sign for the manga industry, because all these people here are flooding in to go buy manga, to go into this giant marketplace, this convention center full of manga, racing in, so much so that they had to prohibit people from sleeping outside the night before. This is how popular it is. People clamoring to get in to buy manga. What's curious about this, though, is that they're not buying this, and they're not buying, here's a Naruto book. They're not buying this. What are they buying? They're buying home-brewed amateur manga. They're buying not manga from the big publishers. They're buying manga made by you and me, manga fans. How cool is that? At the top, you've got sort of the old scheme is that at the top you have artists, and at the bottom you have readers. Okay, you have the creators and the recipients. Okay, you have the pitchers and the catchers. All right, it's this one-way kind of approach. But what happens now is that a lot of the readers remember, the manga industry is shrinking. So a lot of the readers are saying, oh, I don't know. Enter the dojinshi, who come and sort of serve both roles. They serve this kind of mediating function in here. They're readers and artists. They're artists and readers. And they help keep this system going. You look at manga sales in the United States, and it's the one category that's actually increasing. I find this terrifying as someone who's a kind of a writing person. I guess a writing person would be a writer. As a writer, not a good writer, but as a mediocre writing person, it's kind of troubling, because you look at every other trend line in the world of publishing, in the world of print, really, in the world of print. Look at the trend lines in the world of print. It is like, whether it's magazines, newspapers, books, the trend line is like this. It is the trend line of the long goodbye. And it doesn't go that direction. That's kind of interesting. The first is that manga or graphic novels is not words with pictures added to them, or pictures with words added to them. It's its own medium. Because think about that from a creator's point of view. Someone cares so deeply about this. They're not just reading it, that's all right. They're thinking about the characters. They're wondering about the characters. They're imagining the characters. They're seeing things that you didn't even think about your characters. I just think that's so incredible. I just, honestly, as a business person, I say, how could that possibly be a bad thing?